So you've got this amazing, brilliant new educational curriculum, all designed and ready to go. But what happens next? Today, we're diving deep into that hidden world, the complex, often messy, and absolutely critical journey of bringing that blueprint to life in an actual classroom.
Right? Let's get right into it. Because this is the big question. And, the answer almost never lies in the plan itself. The real make or break moment, it's all in the journey of implementation. That's where things either come together or fall apart.
Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine a curriculum is like a perfectly written script for a hit Broadway play. The words are fantastic, but a script is just that, words on a page. Implementation is, well, it's everything else. It's the casting, the director, the rehearsals, the lighting, the set design. It's the entire production that turns that script into a living, breathing show. So before rolling this out to everyone, you don't just throw it out there and hope for the best. No way. The first step is a pilot program. You test it out on a smaller scale, in just a handful of schools. This is the first crucial reality check to see how the plan actually works in a real school with real teachers and real students.
And after that trial run, you might think, great, let's just hand out the new books. But that is a classic mistake. A plan is nothing without the people who have to deliver it. And that's where in-service training comes in. These are not just simple workshops, okay? We're talking about massive undertakings to get every single teacher on the same page, to help them understand not just the new materials, but the whole philosophy behind this change. It's about getting that all-important buy-in.
All right, so the pilot was a success, the initial training is sketched out, and now leadership hits this huge fork in the road. They have to decide how to launch this thing system-wide, and there are basically two very different paths you can take.
And here's where we see that choice laid out so clearly. On one hand, you've got the gradual approach. You introduce the change slowly, maybe just starting with first graders, and let it grow from there. This gives you stability, it gives everyone time to adjust. Then you have the other option, outright implementation, the rip the Band-Aid off approach. You go all in, all at once, across every grade. It's bold, it's fast, but man, it requires a huge upfront investment of resources and training. Each path has its own logic, its own risks, and for sure, its own rewards.
Okay, let's zoom into the classroom itself for a minute, because when this is done right, it completely changes the vibe, the whole dynamic of learning. It really is all about transforming the student's role from a passive one to an active one. We're talking about getting away from that classic scene, right? The one where students are just sitting quietly, trying to absorb information while the teacher talks. The goal here is to create an environment where students are physically and, more importantly, mentally engaged, where they are active participants in their own education. So how do you do that? Well, there's a whole toolbox of techniques. It's not just one thing. For example, think about an interactive worksheet. Instead of just a wall of text, you put a question every couple of paragraphs. It forces students to stop, think, process, and then move on. It's about building in those moments of genuine engagement, from group discussions all the way to student-led presentations. And, when it comes to that small group work we just mentioned, it turns out there's kind of a magic number. 5 or 6 students per group seems to be the sweet spot. Any bigger, and it's too easy for some kids to just sit back and not participate. Any smaller, and you might not get enough different ideas flowing. This size is just right for making sure everyone gets a chance to talk, to argue a little, and to really learn from each other. Okay, but here's the thing. All this great stuff, the training, the active learning, the classroom transformation, it just doesn't happen on its own. A brilliant new curriculum left to its own devices will fail. It needs a massive support structure to have any chance at all. The best way to picture it is like a building. For any new curriculum to stand tall and strong, it has to be built on 4 absolutely essential pillars: the budget, the right facilities, the necessary equipment, and, of course, that ever-elusive resource, time. First up, the money. And when we talk about the budget, just look at this list. It's wow. This is so much more than just buying new textbooks. The money touches everything from paying teachers for extra planning time to renovating buildings to simple things like travel and phone bills. If you're short on any one of these, you're putting a crack in the entire foundation. Next up, the buildings themselves. The physical space has to actually support this new way of learning. You can't tell teachers to do small group work if there's literally nowhere for the groups to meet, right? The school itself needs to be as flexible as the new curriculum demands. Otherwise, all those great active learning ideas just stay on the page. Now for the third pillar, equipment. And the key here isn't just getting the newest, shiniest gadgets. It's about being smart and practical. Is this equipment going to be a nightmare to maintain? Is it simple enough that teachers can actually use it without tons of extra training? The goal is not to have a closet full of fancy tech that nobody uses because it's too complicated. And that brings us to the fourth and maybe the toughest pillar of all, time. This quote just nails it. Why is it so hard? Because you can't just make more of it. Finding the hours for extra planning, for teacher training, for colleagues to collaborate, it all has to be carved out of an already jam-packed school year. This is often where even the best plans run into their biggest obstacle. All right, so let's pull all these threads together. When you step back and look at all of it, the rollout strategies, the classroom techniques, and those four huge pillars of support, a really clear picture starts to form about what this is all truly about. And this is it, right here. This is the whole ballgame. Successful implementation is that magical intersection point. It's where a great plan on paper meets motivated, well-trained people who have the resources they need to do their jobs, all of it coming together to create real, meaningful, and engaging learning for every single student. It really leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? Because while a curriculum might be the what we want to teach, it's the implementation, that complex, human, and absolutely vital how, that really shapes the future of learning.